Hello, good
Hi
afternoon,
everybody,
and welcome to Keyboard Live, episode 3.
We had to run.
You caught us on the hop then. So obviously, my name's Adam. This is Paul. Welcome once again.
You keep talking because I'm out of breath. That was
Episode 3, the return of the Steve Hubble. We're going to call today's episode.
Yeah. You've got
special guest.
Studio guest this time, and just before we start, I should tell you that he left Weymouth. Which for those of you outside the UK, that's right down on the south coast of the UK, at 3:30.
3:30
this morning. And I can see him out the corner of my eyes. He's reclined on a sofa at the moment, about to fall asleep.
Round of applause for Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dedication all to... Which camera am I looking at? I'm looking at different ones. We've got many cameras in here today. I don't know what we're doing here. So yeah, welcome once again. We've got a fun-packed afternoon for you. We're going to do loads of stuff. We've got PA5X, we've got Genos, we've got some important announcements, some cool stuff to share with you all.
Yeah, we have.
Which will be good, which will be all coming up later.
Yeah, what I thought might be good to start with, Adam, is just take a couple of minutes out to explain the connection between myself at Keyboard World and yourselves here at Scan.
Yep.
Because I still get people emailing me asking whether I now work for Scan.
Yep.
And they can't quite see the
tie-up. So obviously Paul is an affiliate of Scan, which basically means you sell for Scan, in other words. But the beauty of that relationship that we have is that when you buy a product through Paul's link, the way it works, as some of you already know, Paul will send you a link. You click the link, it goes through to our website where you purchase your product. And then obviously what we see is we can track that, and then obviously Paul will receive a fee from us. That's kind of how it works.
Yes.
But the beauty in that is that you not only do you get the help from me, so many of you know me and you know that I can help with what the buttons do and all that kind of stuff, but you also get Paul as well. So you're getting two forms of support, if you will, for your instrument.
I mean, I've done some this week where the idea of the support, it's for people, when you get that moment where your head's about to explode because you just can't work something out, then obviously we don't mind a call. As Adam said, it's not a service that's there to ask us, oh, can you suggest a rhythm to go with this song? It's not. We're not on call 24/7 to do it, but obviously what we want to do is sort the major problems out. And obviously if you feel you have an issue with a keyboard or anything like that, you get onto either of us and we'll get it resolved.
And the beauty, of course, is that with that service is that we are users of the instruments.
Yeah.
We're not just people that work in a shop. You know, we've described this, I think it was last time we did Keyboard Live on who Scan are and what we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have a retail space. Yes, we do have an appointment-only studio where you can come and meet me and I can do a demonstration, etc. But it's different than that because, you know, I play a 5X, I've got a Genos 2, I've got a Ketron event, as you do, at home. So these instruments are... We play these every day, as you do at home, so we can really help you with
I mean, what I've done this week for a couple of people, they've sent emails in. It's sometimes quicker for me to just switch the cameras on in the studio and make you a quick little video. It's the picture paints 1,000 words. And sometimes that resolves it because they can physically see what I'm doing on the keyboard.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to book a video call, book a video call. There
you go.
I mean, beyond the service with Scan, that's something else which I offer at Keyboard World. If people want to pay for a one-on-one, absolutely totally tailored to your needs and your keyboard, we do that as well. So
we've come a long way now. We're now on episode 3. Don't forget, Keyboard Live hasn't really officially started yet because the first episode was scheduled to start in November. So we've got a lot of things planned, shall we say, for November. But we've done things like, I mean, it's different today. We sat down today. I just had to say that because we've got Steve playing, so it's a bit weird for me. It's strange, but you know, We've introduced some new products. We've talked about headphones with Tom. We did a great session last month with, of course, with the test tone, with hearing and all that kind of thing. So for those of you that maybe have missed that...
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you can re-watch the episode and you can watch that again. And we're going to take that even further today, how we can implement the things that we learned last month into PA5X, into Genos, You know, we're going to do all of that this afternoon.
In fact, I must say this. You related a story to me earlier about a customer based on the hearing test that apparently you did last month. I never heard a bit of it, but this gentleman said, actually, I went away and he had a Genos and he implemented what Tom said. He did the test. And he actually did what Tom's about to show us all today.
He actually, the words he used were, he said it was life-changing. Now, I knew the information that Tom gave was good, but he says he's now hearing things on his keyboard that he's never heard before. So, you know, I'll take the word for it. We'll explore PA5X and Genos today and see what improvements we can do to the sound. So, obviously, we've looked at new products. Obviously, we've looked at new brands with Ketron. We've never done that before. We've looked at things like headphones and why it's important to buy headphones. We've also done lots of pre-recorded content. We've done lots of content live. So we're building up to this big launch that we're going to do next month. And it will be slightly different next month in that it's going to be a bit more of a TV show sort of feel. We're going to have graphics explaining things. We're going to say, you know, when we're talking about a product, you'll see on the screen what the product is and where you can find it. We're going to introduce QR codes, things like that, where you can visibly scan it with your phone and it will take you immediately to the site shop and all those kind of things. So we're building up slowly. So yeah, exciting.
So we're about to try something we haven't done yet, and that's have somebody play live.
Yeah, so this is when it could all fall down because we've never... Touch wood, we've never really had any issues, have we?
The good news is he's just woken up.
He's woken up.
And get him up. No, Steve has genuinely gone to a lot of trouble to be here with us today, and we're delighted to have him with us. This is Steve's PA5X 76 note, and Steve's going to be joining us on and off throughout the show. I've got something exciting to share with you, which we've done a collaboration with Steve at Keyboard World. But we thought we'd get Steve to sort of play us into today's programme.
Yeah, why not?
And I think you're going to feature something that we're going to be talking a lot about. But this is a new piece of software that's coming soon, bluntly. And he's going to give us a little sneak preview with this first one.
Well, I'll tell you what we should do, just while we're talking.
Yeah.
Shall we bring him in?
Yeah.
So we've not got that awkward. Right.
Yeah.
Steve, do you want to, we haven't got that. So
come on,
and join
Steve.
us.
Come and join
into
us.
Shot. So Steve's here.
Although you can't hear it, they're all applauding and cheering at home.
Hello, everybody.
Steve, all the way from down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've
he's
woken
come
up.
to join us today. He's woken up. So, yeah, I don't know if Steve maybe wants to take
There you go.
position.
Get yourself all sorted.
You get sorted. We'll carry on.
I
We'll
will
carry on
indeed.
talking.
Yeah.
So it's people often say that Paul shrank because our desk is different size to Paul's, but it is a movable electric desk that we have here at Scan.
But you are taller than me.
Well, yeah.
You should crouch down. That's better.
There we go. So we'll leave you in the very capable hands of Mr. Hubble with some beautiful music. Hope you enjoy it. We'll be back in a minute.
See you soon.
Just walking back into set.
That's quite
Right,
all right.
So you'll be back home about 1 o'clock.
Yes, yes,
So
is that me
Steve
done now?
That's Steve done.
It was worth the trip.
No, we'll see. Catch
Have a
Steve.
good afternoon,
Thank
guys.
you, mate. We'll catch Steve in a little while. Yes, that was Lion Eyes from Steve.
Yeah, and that's part of a new software package that he's put together, but he'll be back with us in 20 minutes or so to go through all that.
So I've got in my notes, Adam Paul talk about styles.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I think it's important to announce, just very quickly, of course, version 1.4.1
Yes.
is now out for those of us that are a PA5X player. To download, just head to the Korg website or just simply search for Korg PA5X update. You'll find the latest version. The beauty with the Korg update is you just simply put it on a USB key, follow the instructions that come with the download, because a lot of people often ask, how do you do it? Well, if you download the update, there's a little file that you read and it tells you what to do. It's really, really straightforward, really easy, but you don't have to do it in sort of order. So if you're still running 1.3 or 1.3.1, you don't have to update to 1.4 and then 1.4.1. Just does whatever is the latest update, it will update for you.
A few people, I've had people comment in the last sort of week or so, is why has it come so quickly after the other update? Well, it's what normally happens. Because think of phones, computers, things like that. They will do an update, and the update may give you new features and it may solve certain problems, but it often has a knock-on effect a bit further down the line. And after a little bit of testing, people then say, but since I've had the new version, it now does this.
Yeah.
So you often get this very quick succession of
it's an update
of
to an
updates.
update, if
Yes.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's 1.4.1. And obviously we're not featuring Ketron very heavily today because we did that last time.
Yes. Yeah.
But version 5, believe it or not, 5 is now out for all Ketron event products. So if you've got a Ketron event or an Event X, or of course the very popular Ketron EVM, you can now get a free update.
Yes.
Which was released last week. So anyway, styles.
Styles, yeah.
What are we doing?
Well, I just sat and thought the other day that actually styles are probably the most important part of an arranger keyboard. It's what the whole thing is based around.
Yeah.
But styles, I've talked about this on some of my webinars. The danger with styles is they can start to sound sameish. Because they are, in effect, preset patterns that keep looping. So once you've played a style sort of 10 or 15 times, you can almost predict what it's going to do. And I just thought we'd take a few minutes out and just look at ways that you can make a style a bit more unique to you.
Okay.
And tailor it to you. The first thing is we all use intros and endings, and they're brilliant. On any of the machines, they're brilliant. You have various lengths of intro. The Korg has the unique thing with intro 2 and ending 2, where you can actually put your own chords to it.
Yeah.
Just
on that, actually, I've got a little demo I can share with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So one thing you can do is, and the reason I'm going to show this one, because I do it all the time, because it's one of my favourite styles, but it also because last week it turned 40 years old. Can you believe that? 40 years. So that's Gloria Estefan's Conga.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, yeah. them years, well, that was a long time ago. But yeah, so for this style, you've got 3 intros, yeah? So intro number 1, as standard, is always a counting. And then it will generally start, he says, why have we got no sound? What's going on? It's live, you see, what's going on? Bear with. Got no sound, Tom. Do we know why that might be? Because this is going to be a fantastic segment if we've got... It's because he's...
Based
Steve,
on last month, I thought you were playing already.
What it is, because Steve is a consummate professional.
Yes.
He uses an expression pedal and he's turned it down. So let's try that again. There we go. I'll tell you what. Come again, Steve. So intro number 1 is... And you're in, yeah? So that's basic. Intro number 2 I'll come back to, but intro 3 is the intro for the song.
Yeah.
But what you can do, and it's something I'm going to talk about on Genos later, is the intro 2 needs you to play the chords.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I always recommend whenever you get a new keyboard and you're playing through with styles is before you play anything to them, listen to the style.
Yeah.
And there's 2 examples I want to show, this being the first. So intro 3 is the intro for the song. Yeah, so let's play a chord. Sorry, intro 1. Sorry, it's been a long day. Here we go, intro 1. So this is the intro to the song. I'm now into the song.
Yeah.
But if I play this song, which is very repetitive, it soon becomes quite boring.
Yeah.
You can, of course, change the key, you can change the sound, you can do all these different things. But intro 2 is actually really useful because it's a good sort of breakup of the song. So if I play the first bit of the song... maybe change variation sound. Right, now let's hit this intro 2. You ready for this? I have to play the chords, but you'll see how it breaks up. 1, 2, 3, here we go. And back into the song again. So it gives a really good way of breaking up the song.
And that's exactly one of the things I was going to talk about, is that the real beauty of a style comes when you have learnt the style and you've learnt the phrasing that goes in that style. Because Adam knew, he'd listened to that intro too, and you can hear all those little stops, those stabs, and he can play to actually match that perfectly. It then sounds like a professional sequenced arrangement rather than using a preset style.
It just gives it more of a live feel. And just another one, as another example, and then I will let you talk. But the one thing...
You're all heart.
Yeah, one thing I learned actually from owning a PA 4X before it, they used to have a good feature on a 4X, which is not on the 5X, funnily enough, but whenever you picked a variation, in the screen, it would show me how long that loop was.
Yes.
So before the style looped, in effect. So I know, because this is an older style, but if you listen to it, you'll understand. So variation 1 is a 4-bar loop. Yeah, I know that simply because, you know, I know the style. Now, if you look in the screen, it will actually tell you where you are. So bar 8, bar 9, and so on, and that will just keep counting up. So it doesn't do what it did on the 4X, but you can tell that that's looping every 4 bars.
Yep.
Variation 2 is the same. It's a 4-bar loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go around again. 1, and it'll just repeat.
Yes.
Variation 3 is different. It's actually a 6-bar loop, and the reason I know that is because, like I said, I've played this instrument to death. So I know, if you listen, 1, 2, it all sounds the same, but it is looping. 3, 4. Now listen to what happens in bar 6. So it's 7, sorry. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It does this little sort of snare thing.
Yep.
So you think it's of a style that's called shadow pop, and you listen to the style, it's going to be Apache, yeah? So it knows that when we get to variation 3, it's going to be this part of the song. Now remember that bar 7 thing? It fills in that little bit of the song.
Yeah.
So don't always, when you're playing, need to jump on fill-ins, because when you hit a fill-in, it will reset the count back to 1. So like you said before, pick a style. First of all, listen to the intros, listen to each variation, and listen to the endings. And just one more tip, and I've done this on a video if you want to check on the Scan channel. If you double tap the brake, it will lock that in place.
Yes.
So it almost gives a 5th variation. So if we listen to the style and listen to the brake, yeah, if if I double tap that, and press it again, it will come out of it. Yeah?
Yep. Yeah,
There you go. Top tips.
But it is what we've just been talking about. It's learning your styles, because then they don't sound like mechanical styles if you use them in the correct way. You've just highlighted one thing there with the breaks and the fills. Listen to the phrasing in the breaks and fills. Sometimes it's so distinctive.
Yeah.
And particularly with things like the break, because the break is more drum-based, whereas the fills is the whole band filling in. And that applies to any of these keyboards. So where you see break, there might be a bit of instrumentation in there, but it's heavy on the drum side of it.
And they also, when you do, because like as Paul rightly mentioned there, a fill-in is where the whole band plays a fill-in. A break is where the band stops and the drummer does a fill-in.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, we've got 4 variations of rhythm and we've got 4 fill-ins. So if you're in variation 1, but you press fill-in 4, any of those instruments that would be playing in variation 4 will join in with that fill-in.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're playing a swing sort of style, variation 1 might only have piano, bass and drums, but variation 4 might have a full brass and a trumpet, woodwind section join in. If you hit fill-in 4, those instruments will play for that fill-in and then stop. So you can really...
But that brings a downside that sometimes you've got to think, does that actually work?
You have to try it. Yeah.
I'm playing a little swing with just a jazz guitar strumming away in the background, and then all of a sudden, for one bar only, a load of saxes and trumpets, that's probably not always what you want.
Absolutely.
So it is all about learning your machine. And if you do that, and if you can phrase with... But because there's very little going on in the break, that leaves you room to actually play something. And it might only be stabbing some chords, but if you can stab them in time with the drum pattern, it elevates your playing to sound like it was professionally programmed rather than you've just...
Yeah, well, like the Shadows
taking
one
it for
there,
what it
the
is.
bit in the song where it is that syncopated bit, there isn't a variation for that. But if you double tap the break, it kind of works for the song.
Yeah, and I mean, the next thing I'm going to say might be obvious, so I apologise if this is too obvious, but obviously the 4 variations, the style will build up as you go through the 4 variations. Actually, when you look at the 4 sounds that are associated with it, and again, that applies on Korg, OTS, on Yamaha, and the same on the, what do they call it, voice to ABCD on Ketron, you will find that what should happen is the voice gets bigger. What you don't want to be playing variation 4 with all that brass and saxes going on, and you've got a solo instrument here, because it's going to get lost against the rest of the style. So when you're using these styles, we know you can link the variation to the sound, and that's the safe way normally, because if you go to variation 4, you will get the bigger sound. But if you want to be flexible and do your own thing, so you want to be on variation 3 but with sound 1, just have a look. You know, if you've got, say, a style where you've just got a solo nylon string guitar, it's a soft sound, but variation 3 and 4 on this particular ballad are really banging away, you're not going to hear that guitar. And it just brings me to another point where immediate reaction of a lot of people when things aren't balanced and you think, oh, I've lost it, they immediately try to turn the volume up on the guitar. The natural, whether it's just a natural human reaction, they think, oh, that needs to be louder. Actually, swap it round. Sometimes it's the style that needs to be taken back a little bit. They're called accompaniments, and they should not be the main.
Yeah, and the other
part.
thing is just to bear in mind with that as well. If you come into an instrument like this, whether it be a Genos, whether it be a Korg, whether it be a Ketron, whatever it might be, and just as an example, you've played organ all your life.
Yep.
The touch is very different.
Yes.
So it might be that you're just not used to playing with touch response. If you're finding that every style is too loud, you could either then adjust the volumes for every time you play it, or simply go into your settings and adjust the touch.
Yeah.
Maybe set to set it to a softer touch so that you don't have to touch the keys as hard to make it as loud.
Yes.
So there are many different ways you can get over that.
Yeah. And also in the case of Korg, if we want to just have a look at it, if we look in the where am I going, Adam?
What page are you looking for?
The one with where you set the volumes of the accompaniments and that. So in the preferences, if you look here, the bass, the drums and percussion and accompaniments are all set to 127. Now that doesn't mean you can't take the volumes down here. It's just the global volume that those accompaniments are set. Mine at home, I tend to knock that back just a little bit and then leave myself a little bit more play. So don't be confused that sets the level, and when you alter the volume here, you're going to see these volumes change.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
That is like the global setting, and then you adjust your volumes here. But again, why Tom's got this shot on, this is like really useful on the Korg. When you're on the main button here, the first 3 sliders basically control the volume of your keys. Now that's any right hand sounds. It's also the left hand voice. So if you've got a lower voice on as well, that's controlled by that volume slider. And then, of course, your styles or your backing songs, be it MP3s or MIDI files, either go into player 1 or player 2 or both. Yeah, and we've got that there. And then, of course, you've got the X fader that allows you to fade between the 2 songs or the 2 styles, whatever you want. So there is a lot to control. But it's important that you get your instrument. And again, Tom's going to be talking about set it for your personal preference. Nobody else can tell you what volume levels you want. Here, some people just don't like bass. Yeah. So they would have that global bass setting quite a way down. So even when you've got the style going on full, the volume is there, but the bass content.
Yeah, it is interesting that you're saying you need to set your keyboard your way. And I'm on one page on Steve Hubbell's 5X, and I already know I have bass and lower backing on. I always have style to keyboard set. I have that set to on.
Yes.
I have, there's different things because it's not mine.
But Steve can play.
He doesn't need all the. But that's the thing. All of us have different global settings for our product, and it should be the same for you.
And I think I said it on one of the earlier keyboard lives. And I hear and see so much of this where a friend from the keyboard club will come and say, no, you don't want it like this, you want it like that.
I do.
I don't. Be a bit forceful. Your keyboard is your own personal property and should be set as you prefer it, not how anybody visiting the house.
I mean, look at his split point. He's got his split point. What's it all about?
Yeah. But don't talk about him because he can hear us.
Yeah, he's a proper pro. So you're right. Make the keyboard your own.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the styles because as brilliant as the styles are, they're mechanical backings. And anything you can do to make the real magic starts when you actually learn what these styles are doing and you can play with the style rather than the style leading you.
Yeah.
And when you're making your own sound up, just follow those same rules. If you're going to put 4 of your own settings in to go with a style, just think that 9 cases out of 10, setting number 1 wants to be the gentlest. That's the beginning of the piece.
Yeah.
And don't overdo it like that. The other thing you can do, just before we finish this, it's just been a little chat really, hasn't it, about it in general. But is think about revoicing styles. Think about muting parts. Think about just rebalancing it. Alter some volume controls. Where you've got pianos and guitars playing, make your mind up. Do I want the piano to be more dominant? Do I want the guitar quiet? Or do I want to put the emphasis on the guitar and just have the piano gently in the background? doing all these things, I know it takes time and it takes a bit of effort, but it makes your keyboard settings unique to you.
and I think the thing is don't forget, if like we covered on the Ketron thing last month, is that if you find a style and you want to mute a couple of parts and you want to maybe change the volumes, or you maybe even want, you like the backing, but you want that sax section to be played by a clarinet and not a sax, as an example.
Yep.
Once you've made your edits, just hit the drop down menu at the top and just put save, and then save style, give it a name. You've made a style. You know, I don't care what anybody says. We know you've edited it, but you've not. You've made a brand new style.
Yes.
So that shadows pop. You might want to get rid of the guitar. You might want to change the bass. You might want to change the drums. You might want to change the speed. You might want to change the volumes. You might want to add some EQ, some effects, whatever. Save. Give it a brand new name. You've made a style.
And can I just put one final thing in?
Yes.
There is a thirst for song-dedicated styles, and we've got them in here. We've got them in Genos. There are some in Ketron as well.
Yeah.
When you get a song-dedicated style, you must be mindful of the fact that certain variations are written specifically for certain parts of that piece. And you need to work that out in advance, because otherwise it can actually sound worse than if you had a song, just used a general style to play it. I mean, there's the Hey Jude one on here. By the time you get to the variation 4, you're doing the bit at the end, the na 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 na, that bit. But you don't want that while you're playing the Hey Jude bit at the beginning. So it is all about learning what your styles do, how they actually play, and then have a bit of an experiment, change some sounds, change some volumes, and be careful how you use your sounds and the different variations.
Love that. That's great. Right, I've got on my list, welcome another special guest. Well, we do. We have another special guest who's recorded a couple of pieces for us. Very good friend of both of ours, known for many, many years. Well known to a lot of you that attend the various keyboard festivals up and down the land. And that is, of course, the one and only Andy Carville.
Yeah, who, as we speak, is in midair on his way to Australia to pick up his cruise ship. Talk about another life.
We're paying him far too much to do these videos for us, but anyway. So
no, and just to be serious for a minute, Andy is a great example, really, of where it doesn't always have to be about the flagship model. Andy has a PA 1000. It's the model down from the predecessor of this.
Yes.
So 4X was the predecessor of the 5X. Then we had the 1000. And the 1000 is still available on all good scam websites near you. And the PA 700. They are still very, very comprehensive instruments. And if any of you have watched any of my Keyboard World videos, you'll know that Andy loves to use the sequencer.
Yeah, he does.
And whether you think that's right, wrong, or otherwise, Andy inputs every single note himself, and he does all the arrangements himself, and some absolutely stunning arrangements. And when you think this is a mid-price keyboard that you're about to hear, have we got the summer nose there?
Do you want that the one you want first?
Yeah,
I'm
please.
ready whenever you are. So
so this is Andy Carville playing a lovely Michel Legrand number called The Summer Nose on his PA 1000.
Here we go. It was a lovely arrangement, that. So, yeah, welcome back. Familiar face, of course. Tom, welcome
Hello.
back to your studio.
Thank you. and thank you, Paul, for that lovely editing job on that. Have you been eating magic mushrooms? Or
No,
something?
what I love is, I love the drone shots. I love the drone shots that you put in the background of your back garden there, Paul, as it was. But no, what a lovely arrangement there from Andy. So we'll have more from Andy later in the show. So it's been a bit of a, first time. It's first time we've been on camera together,
Yeah.
Tom. So this is mildly frightening, I'm not going to lie. But so yeah, we've evolved this. We started talking about headphones. In the last Keyboard Live session, we did the hearing test where we played a test tone. And yeah, everybody's mission was to find out when your hearing level stopped. When did you stop hearing the test tone? And to make a note of what frequency your hearing dropped out. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
There we go. So
And you can catch that if you want to play back the last Keyboard Live. So
Yeah.
episode 2, you can find that hearing test in there.
is on there. So basically what we're going to do now is show you now how you implement that on the PA5X. We'll have more later
Yep.
where we discuss again with Tom on how you do that on a Genos. But for now, let's look at the PA5X. So let's say, for example, we are Paul Carman and his hearing dropped out, I think, was it 8,000 hertz
it
or
was
whatever?
8,000, yeah.
So Paul has the hearing of a 105-year-old. So let's see what we would do and use Paul as an example and how we can implement that to make your keyboard sound
I love
better.
how we're doing it with him in the other room as well. It's like there.
I can hear mumbling and grumbling. So basically, let's look at that. Let's say, for example, our hearing dropped out at 8,000 hertz. So the first thing we need to do is, we've got a nice camera angle of, there we go.
Oh,
Look
there
at
we
this.
go.
Tom's fancy setup. So we go into settings and we want to go into waves. So on the PA5X, waves is our EQ for our keyboard. So if we go to the master page, so we can see all these different sort of gain, frequency, cues. We've got this little graph that's on there. What do we do, Tom? What's the first thing that you think we should do when looking at this screen?
So basically, to implement this change, there's only actually one thing that we're going to need to do.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to change the last band in this EQ. So here on the right-hand side, I've just clicked on where it said frequency.
Yeah.
And in fact, what I'll do is I'll put a bit of gain on it so we can see it work.
So you can
Yeah.
see now that is
So-
now moving up.
If we look out on the EQ, we can see the top here. God, I'm sick to see a lot.
Yeah. No, yeah, you've got all these different shapes.
I will pick out the word observe.
Right, yeah.
So we can change the type of EQ. We've got a peak EQ like we've got here, or we've got a shelving EQ.
Yeah.
We don't want the cut. We'll go back to either a peak or a shelf.
Yeah.
And then we can dial the Q, which is the sort of the bandwidth.
So we're
of it.
basically-
so
we're-
how big an area.
Yeah, we're
it
focusing
will be
on that.
affecting.
Yeah, and you can see as Tom's dialed that there, that sort of nice little hill shape
Yeah.
has now gone in.
So that's just going to put a focus on those
you.
frequencies.
Got you.
And the idea here is that we basically move that bump up to where your hearing stops.
Right, get you. So we've got, so obviously for Paul,
Yeah.
his was at 8,000.
Yeah.
So we want to then get around
So
8,000.
we want to go, yeah. So
just below
we've
it,
got
or
we've got a couple of options. Where it's giving you the actual frequency is the center.
Okay.
So what we want to do is just go up, and you'll be able to fine tune this for yourself. But I've got like a 10 dB gain ish here, and I'm going to go up, and then just tweak that. So probably 9,000.
And of course, while we're doing this, we can play it. So you'll have your
Yeah.
headphones on and you'll be able to hear, put a style running maybe, and then see which works best for you. So you've picked there a frequency of 9,000
Yep.
that you're finding that, and then you've bumped that up.
Yep.
Now what you might want to do is maybe on the EQ below, just do maybe the one below it, maybe, and boost that as well? I don't know whether that'll
Nope.
make a difference.
No,
So it won't.
no,
So you purely want to focus on that one.
Yes,
Got
you just want to put the shift in, because it's not like you're hearing stops and it's like a brick wall. It will tail off.
Right.
So the idea is that if we boost up that tail, we're just gonna get that little bit more clarity in the top
and
end.
of course, looking at going back to last month, if Paul, as we're talking about Paul with 8,000, he could hear everything before that anyway. So you don't need to boost that.
Exactly. You don't want this to be. You just want it to be touching the very top of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it will be very much to your taste. But that's about the point that I would be looking at.
Got you.
If I was Paul. Now my own hearing, I go up. I'm about sort of just below 13,000.
So we can do because the thing is, it goes right up on the 5X. So if for you then, for example, 13,000, there's one 13,004.
So I would probably go up, 13,777, 14,5, and then just play with that and play with the gain and just
get it right for you. Now, sorry, go on.
So what we will say is this is personal for you. It works really well on headphones because obviously only you've got them on, but it can work on anything. So if you've got the PAS, is it PAS or is it PAS? Do I care?
Do you care? I mean,
care.
PAS, PAAS is a bit hard to say. It's PA amplification system, if the correct term. But PAS,
if you've got the speakery thing, then
everybody calls it a PAS. So,
So if you've got that, obviously that's playing to you. You can EQ that as well.
This is the clever thing. Yeah. So once we've now set this and we've got our headphones on and we're thinking, wow, this is sounding great. Simply, if you touch the drop-down menu at the top and it says save the preset. So we'll save it and it says, right, what would you like to name it? Now, I'm on Steve's keyboard at the moment, so I don't want to make it go overwrite anything he's done. But just for this demonstration, I'm going to call it headphone. Yeah, so let's just type in headphones. There we go. So it's now saying, where do I want to save that? So you've got all these different presets. So there's one there that I made earlier, so I'll just go over that. So once I've done that and it's saying, right, are you going to call it headphones? And we're going to save it into this position, press save. Now, the beauty is now on the 5X is you can then set a default. So basically what that means is, you mentioned before, Tom, whether you're using headphones or whether you want to use the PAS system, the beauty with the Korg is you can decide which EQ preset works for whichever, way of playing you've got. So for example, if you were playing with headphones on and you got it to sweet spot and it's sounding amazing, but then your friend comes round and you go, listen to this, unplug it, and you're using the same EQ, he might go, whoa, it's a bit too trebly for me. It's because his hearing is different to yours.
Yes, and that's also, if you've got, this is it, if you're playing to other people in the room and you've modded this, especially if you're on a PAS system, it will be, everyone will be offended at a different point.
Now, this is why the 5X is clever, because what it allows you to do is set a default preset for whatever setup you've got at home. So if we go to default preset on the screen now, it's saying, right, when you switch on your keyboard, right, and we've got the amplification, so that might be a line out, it might be going into some big PA system, it might be just some monitor speakers, it might be the PAS system. What EQ do you want to use? Well, I want to use Live Stage, which is the one that Steve's made that's perfect for him and his audience. Now then, when we're at home and we've got our headphones in, what EQ do you want to use? Touch the top, select headphones, done. So every time I switch on the keyboard now and plug in my headphones, it will automatically preset to your EQ for your hearing.
Now, I think here, what this is essentially telling us is there's two circuits. So the audio out,
yes, you're right, there is.
And the headphones share the same output.
They do.
If you're playing a concert, it will also affect the sound that's coming out of the line.
Yeah, sorry, there's three, isn't there? Because you've got audio out and headphones are one. So, for example, if you are in monitor speakers, you probably want the same EQ as your headphones anyway, I would imagine.
Yes, but the crowd,
Yes.
if you're playing to,
Don't want that. So if you're playing live, you'd need to switch that before you played live.
Yeah.
Get you?
Yeah.
But then also we've got the amplification system, which is the one, it says here, it only applies when the pass system is on and no headphones are inserted, because the minute you plug your headphones in, it switches the EQ. So that one maybe is the one you might want to have as your headphone one, and your headphones would be a headphone one. But remember, if you are playing live or playing to friends, you might want to default back to another preset.
This is it. We're giving you the ability to do this. Just make sure that you remember to take other people into consideration.
Yeah. There we go. That's good, isn't it? There we go. We've all learned something there. So don't forget, if you want to go right back, go to the Keyboard Live number 2. And then you can check that out, and you can do the test tone, and you can check where your hearing is and all that kind of thing, where it drops out. And then you can boost that using the Waves Max Audio feature available in PA5X. Thanks, Tom. What's next? Software. It's you two, not us two. Right, we're going. See you later. See you in a bit. We've no video to cut to.
All right,
we'll just all unprofessional. We'll go this way.
Right.
You come in that way like a revolving
Look at
door.
that.
Oh. But then I go unprofessional and walk in front of the camera. There we go. I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, it was fairly seamless. On a serious note, what I would like to say is Tom's been on all the videos so far, and I find it so fascinating to talk to him, because he's made me look at the sound in a totally different way to what I'd done before. But I'm filling in, actually, just while Steve puts his keyboard back ready. We've got Steve here with us, and a few weeks ago we had a little chat on the phone, and Steve's obviously been up and done a couple of webinars with me before, and I said to Steve, would you like to put some of your regular concert sounds out as a software pack? And that's what he's actually done. So he's put the best of all his concert pieces together, and he's worked on them in such a way that they are now. Are you ready?
I think so.
They're now usable for a home player to use as well. And you've just completed, literally yesterday, the first pack, because this will be a whole series of Steve's sort of concert pieces, and they're all popular pieces. Would you like to just tell us what it's going to consist of, Steve?
I will indeed, yeah. The way this first started, Paul, as you know, I spend a lot of time showing people how to do modifications to the sounds and the styles, because I think anybody who's heard a PA5X keyboard will agree that it's a great sounding keyboard.
Oh yeah.
And straight out of the box it sounds brilliant, but you've got a huge amount of editing that you can do with the styles and the sounds. And I spend a lot of time showing people how to do that. But a lot of people said to me, have you considered actually putting those edited sounds and styles together so we can actually get hold of them, rather than because there are a lot of people don't want to be involved in.
Well, it's the time. It's the time element, isn't it? And,
it is. So I was just thinking about that when you phoned me and said, "Hey, Steve, have you ever considered doing some software?" And to which I said, "Well, funnily enough, I'm just in the process of thinking about it."
Yeah. So you've put this first pack together.
I have.
I'm going to say at this point, I haven't even heard this myself yet, because when I phoned you yesterday to check everything was all right for today, you were just putting the finishing touches to it.
I was indeed. So having decided to do the software, the first and one of the biggest problems actually was deciding what to do.
Yeah.
So I've got lots of ideas now for the next ones, but I thought for the first one I would choose some of the very favourite songs that people like when I do my concerts, because when I'm not teaching and showing people how to use these instruments, I travel around the country playing the PA5X. So I thought it'd be a good place to start.
Yep.
So the first software pack is called In Concert, volume number 1.
Yep.
And what you get the complete sound setups and rhythm setups for 12 different songs.
Okay.
Okay, but just because those are the song names, you don't necessarily have to play those particular songs, because a lot of the setting, some are very song specific, others are far more general and can be used for that particular style of music. So I've just completed the first pack, and these are 12 songs that are always very popular.
Okay, so what
at
would
my
be
shows.
great is if you just give us a little snippet.
I will indeed.
Of each one.
We'll go through in alphabetical order. Now, the first one was actually something that you touched on with Adam a little earlier, and that is Apache.
Okay, yeah.
Apache by the Shadows. Now, of course, the first thing that you need is a really good guitar sound.
Yep.
Okay, so I spent a lot of time with the guitars on here and all the effects processors. So this is going through things like delays, echoes, reverbs, and all the rest of it. So it's the Fender Strat guitar.
Nice.
Which is a lovely guitar sound.
Nice.
And you can either have that with a guitar in the left hand, or for those who prefer to have something a bit more gentle like strings, then there's a version with strings in the left. So that's the first thing we needed, a really good guitar sound. And then, of course, the style. Well, as you touched on the style earlier, the actual style that's in the keyboard already is rather good.
Yep.
For this. There is a problem with the inbuilt style, and that is the intro's all wrong.
Yes.
The intro is wrong. Now it's not.
Okay.
Okay, so when anybody plays the intro now,
So there are style edits in the software as well.
every single style, you get 12 songs.
Yep.
So each song has got a style.
Yep.
That style is either a completely edited style,
Yes.
or it's a brand new style that's been done right from scratch. So so this particular style, as well as changes to the effects and the instrumentation, has got a brand new intro. This is the proper Shadows introduction.
Let's have a listen.
And of course, in the middle bit, we've got the muted guitar. And so
Brilliant.
on. Yeah. So we've got a really good sound setup, but that introduction.
I mean, I can hear straight away the trouble you've gone to perfect those sounds against the standard settings that are in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. So even if it is an inbuilt style, it's been quite heavily edited. So it sounds its best.
Okay, what we got next?
Next up, a little bit of Latin American, Besame Mucho.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to have here is the piano. So let me just play you. But of course, that's great if you are a piano style player. An awful lot of people don't play the piano like that. They prefer to play in keyboard style. So this has all been set up with the left-hand sound and the split. If you don't want to play piano style, you simply press the split button and you are straight into keyboard style. So
nice.
that's
And what other sounds have we got in there for that one?
If we go back to the Shadows sound there, because on here you've got 3 upper sounds and a lower sound, as you have on many Arranger keyboards. And the Shadow sound, to create the guitar sounds on there, it was using all three
Yes.
of these to create one sound. Whenever there's a sound and it only uses one or two of these,
Yep.
then there are other sounds set up in the other parts for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in upper one we have the standard piano sound. In upper two we have the piano again, but an octave lower.
Okay.
So you can either use that in its lower form.
Or you can put the two together.
You can put the two together.
Yeah.
And if you put the two together, that gives you the cocktail style
Yeah,
piano
yeah.
where the pianist plays in octaves.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, difficult technique to learn, but you don't need to. You just put the two together.
Nice.
And then if we introduce the third sound, again, another very famous playing style was the George Shearing sound,
Yep.
where they added a vibraphone
Yep.
into the mix. And that's what we have on upper three. That adds a vibraphone. And to create the George Shearing style sound, you have to play lots of notes together.
Yes.
Chords.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people find that pretty difficult.
Yes.
On here you've got a great feature called Ensemble, which converts a single note into a chord.
Yep.
And one of the really good things on here is that because you've got three upper sounds, you can actually have a different style of ensemble on each of these sounds.
Yeah,
But again, this has all been done for you. So if you want the ensemble, you just switch it on and away you go. Moving on to keyboard set number 2, we introduced the guitars.
Yep.
And we've got a lovely nylon guitar. Again, the nylon guitar is always a little bit quiet
Yep.
on here, so that's gone through a few effects processors
Yeah.
and a compressor to get the volume to just where it should be. On upper number 2, we have the jazz guitar. Number 3. If we go to 3, keyboard set 3, we have flutes. And then on number 4, we have some lovely saxophones. And again, there's a different type of sax on number 1 and a different one in number 2.
Sorry to interrupt, but what I'm already seeing is there is a lot more than just 4 sounds for
Oh, yeah,
each
absolutely.
of these, because
Yeah.
real clever use of all the sections and being able to mix the things together.
Yeah,
You've
so-
actually probably got 12 or more
you've
different
got-
alternatives
you've got-
that you can use there for each song.
You have indeed. So, for example, if we go to keyboard set number 4, which is the saxophones,
Yeah.
we've got a jazz sax in number 1, we've got an alto sax in number 2, and we also have a cornet
Yeah.
in number 3.
And of course you can have any combination
You
of
can
them
have
again.
combinations,
So, yeah.
but on their own individually, that's three different sounds.
Yes.
Just from the one button.
Yep.
And we said about maybe not playing this the title of the tune that's on there. This is Besse Mamucho.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why you can't play something like.
Yeah.
We'll go to the second saxophone.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Let's walk through a few more of the songs. That's
Lots of different stuff in there. One of my favourites
beautiful.
next.
Yeah.
Now this is based. So I did a webinar for you fairly recently down at Keyboard World. And I showed people how to create what I called an orchestral freestyle. This is based really on that, but we've got different sounds. We've got the type of style that we talked about on that webinar, which is one of the free styles. So there's no drums, no bass. It's a style that you can play nice and freely. Again, it's been edited and modified and changed. So it's nothing really like the original style. So the style itself is basically an orchestra playing, so you've got orchestral basses and strings with a few French horns. Inbuilt into the fillings, you were talking about fillings earlier, then you've got some lovely cymbal rolls. Which leads you into the next section of music. So that's a great style down there. In terms of the sounds, then we've got things like low strings. Now this is made of 3 different instruments. A couple of string sounds and also a solo cello. And again, we're using a feature on the instrument where the cello is set so it will only play one note. So that is a solo instrument with the rest of the strings underneath.
And just, sorry Steve, just before you play it, and I think this ties in with what me and Adam were talking about earlier. You know, when we were talking about people always go to put volumes up rather than take other things down. Of course, you're now starting with 3 sounds, but there's actually nothing to stop you taking a couple of those out to just go back to the cello.
Absolutely.
So even though you're starting with 3 sections, it doesn't mean you haven't now got any variations, because people forget sometimes you can take things out to create another new sound.
Absolutely. So the 3 sounds together will sound like this. But we can take the strings out.
And just have the solo,
So yes, so lots of variation. There.
Just play me a little bit of it. I love this song.
You've got a lovely combination at the end there of oboe and strings.
Beautiful.
Does he?
There you go. Got the thumbs up from Tom for that one as well.
That's good then.
I'm beginning to see now that this is going to be a stunning piece of software for any PA5X owner, because when you said initially, well, I'll do 12 songs, actually there's a lot more than that in reality in here. Because like you say, you can use certain ones of these. Even that Gabriel's oboe that you just played, I can think of lots of classical and film type themes that you could use exactly the same.
Oh, you use a similar style for many pieces of music from John Barry, Ennio Morricone.
All right. Well, we probably don't have time to go through all of them, but can I pick a few?
Yes, you can indeed.
I love you doing this one, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you've got some great sound effects in this.
Yeah, let's go to that.
You just play it.
Okay.
Yeah, just play it. It'd be great to hear it again.
So we've got great intros and use of the pads.
Yeah.
If you listen to the original of this, you've got a choir doing some chants.
Yes.
And they're not samples or anything like that. It is everything on here is an internal sound.
Right.
So you haven't got to go and buy anything else.
Yeah.
It's all internal, but it's using scat voices with different pressures on,
Right.
to produce different vocal sounds
Clever.
with lots of different reverbs and things.
Yeah, clever.
So, shall we do a bit of
Yeah, do a bit of-
We'll do a bit of this.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Nice. Lots of
And,
fun.
and
isn't it,
again,
that?
you know, you're going to get the new pads as well, which Steve has spent a long time, I would imagine, creating those.
Absolutely. It took a time to get those
Yeah, yeah.
right.
I
You
just
get a
wonder whether we
tubular
should have
valve.
Adam in because we haven't got the ugly here at the minute, have we? So,
Here he is.
right, let's just do a couple more, and then you're going to do another little performance from here in a little while as well. So,
I am indeed.
what shall we have? How about Laughter in the Rain? Haven't heard that for a
Laughter
while.
in the Rain, a great piece of music, Neil Sedaka and all that. So this one is basically starting with a sort of piano combination.
Yep.
And again, it's an edited style, and then drawbars.
Okay.
Okay, you've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
some great drawbar the that you heard in the first tune, actually.
Yes.
And again, you've got the ability to put the drawbar sounds through modelling amps. So it's going through rotary speaker and through a rotary speaker
That's
amplifier.
just a reminder as well that the Lying Eyes that Steve opened up with earlier, that is one of the songs.
That is one
exactly
of them on here.
as taken
You
from
get
the
all
pack
those
there as well,
settings. You do. So
Let's have a bit of Laughter in the Rain.
Laughter in the Rain. Then you can move on to the harmonica. And for those who like to put the solos, in
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it,
yeah.
there's a great sax solo.
Brilliant. So look, this software should be available through ourselves at Keyboard World some point next week.
Yes, it will indeed.
Tomorrow, Steve's coming back with me this evening. We'll be filming all day tomorrow a little bit more in-depth demo clips on all the pieces in the software. And then we just have to sit and put our heads together and get the PDF booklet with all the listings on and the loading instructions, etc. So we will be emailing all of our customers at some point over the next week or so. What would be nice to finish this little segment is, do you want to just play a full piece just out of one of the songs?
Indeed.
I'm going to let you choose. What would you like to do?
I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do a bit of Michael Bublé.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I do like a bit of Michael Bublé.
I'm going to lay in a darkened room just for a few minutes, yeah. And I'm going to leave you in the more than capable hands of Mr. Steve Hubble with another piece off his forthcoming software.
Yeah. And don't take this personally, Paul, but this is called I Want to Go Home.
Right. Steve.
Thank you very much, guys.
And Steve will be back with us a little bit later. Another performance.
Another professional turnaround.
You know,
there.
I just realised I was talking then and you couldn't see my head.
Thing is, maybe we do have like 3 sets here, and we're just using one today for some reason. But yeah, no, that's good. It's amazing once again, Steve. And that I've never heard any of those.
Yeah.
And I'll be purchasing that, I think, next week. So I'll look forward to hearing more from Steve a little bit later.
Yep.
What's next? Oh, yeah.
A little bit of news.
Oh, drum roll. Announcement time.
Yeah.
So we are very proud to announce here at Scan to be partnering with a new brand. So obviously, last year we partnered, of course, with Ketron. We are the sole distributors in the UK for Ketron products. And we've now got an announcement for you today. Do we want to say what it is, or want to go straight to the video, what we're doing?
No, I think you should tell them about it first.
Okay, so obviously, as hinted by Paul last month, we're now very proud to announce that we are going to be the supplier of Orla products into the UK. So obviously, Paul, you've worked with Orla for many, many years.
Yeah, I was actually the UK distributor for Orla, and for about 25 years. And I mean, they're far from a new product. Orla have celebrated their 50 years in business. And obviously, when I was handling it, the organs were a big thing in those days, and we did incredibly well in the partnership with Orla. In terms of products that have the Orla badge on now, they concentrate on the digital piano market. And actually, you have kindly lent me the sample
very
one that was sent over. And you will hear me playing it in a little while. At the budget end of the market, they make some incredibly good and competitive products, and I think you'll hear it's a very, very nice.
It's definitely, and it's something
piano
that will feature heavily probably on our next broadcast, because we'll have the first products to show you.
Yep.
And it's something that I think certainly for next month, if you're considering you want to buy the grandkids the first piano, or you want a piano to use as a second manual, or you want a piano for the home or whatever, it's definitely something that you should keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of the pianos they do don't just feature sound, just basic sounds. They feature styles as well, and registrations, and all the kind of normal keyboard stuff, but in a piano box. So,
and I have to say, for me personally, it's refreshing again to deal with a family business.
yeah.
I've known Enrico there, the boss, as I said, for 25 years, and this has enabled us to rekindle a friendship, really, that had sort of drifted away when I went off and did my own thing, and they stopped doing the organs for a while. And it's nice, and it's nice to have people you can just pick a phone up or do a video call with and talk to them, not just about business. You know, we talk about family things and all sorts. I know he's off in his car at the minute to the north of Italy to celebrate his wedding anniversary. He's shared all that with it, and there's something nice about that in this day and age, when we're all used to talking to messages on telephones and bots. And,
I know what you mean.
You know, it's nice to talk to a human being, and I'm sure you'll all be impressed by the range of digital pianos.
Yeah, so that's this month's announcement.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll have another announcement next month. Wonder what that could be, but stay tuned.
Yeah, now, I think it was Wednesday this week. I set Enrico the challenge. We had AJ on, didn't we, last month? And I said, Enrico, what would be really nice is if you filmed a little message for us, just, introducing yourself. And it was quite funny, really, because he said, I'll have it done by lunchtime. And at 4 o'clock, I got a text message to say, Paul, why am I so stupid? I can't talk in front of a camera. And I know the problem. When you do it for the first time, it's daunting.
Especially
because
on your own as well.
Yeah, when you're sitting on your own in a room and you're trying to make sense, all of a sudden you can't even pronounce your own name properly. So what we did in the end, the following morning, I called him from my video gear in the studio, invited him on as a guest. Now, I will say he only had his mobile phone, so The sound is not as clear as I would have liked it to have been, but we got there in the end. So maybe you'd like to play that. It's just to introduce the managing director of Orla to you, a gentleman by the name of Enrico. Oh,
we've got our first ever glitch.
Well, Enrico, very warm welcome to our Keyboard Live presentation. It's lovely to see you over there in sunny Italy. Yeah, me and you go back quite a way, don't we?
Oh, must be over 20 years.
Yeah, I think I had black hair when I first knew you.
You had black hair. We were a lot younger.
Yeah.
But yes, we did a lot of things together, and I'm happy that we are back again.
Yeah, we're back again. Yeah, and we'll be telling the viewers our special bit of news in just a short while. But just really was to give them a little background as to where you are at the moment, because I used to love coming over 3 or 4 times a year to visit your beautiful town where you live, Castelfidardo.
Well, Castelfidardo is, as you said, it's a very nice place. It's in the middle of the hillside of Middle Italy. We're next to the sea. In fact, the Conado Riviera is maybe 10 minutes drive away. We have some nice, beautiful places like Loreto Cathedral.
Yes.
We have other very, very interesting places like the Rosso Conado Vineyard. That is also something that we should mention.
Yes.
But most important for our conversation is that Castelfidardo is well known in the world as the accordion town.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I came over, everybody kept saying it is the accordion capital of the world, not just Italy, of the world. So how did the association begin with the accordions?
Well, let's say it's a very simple but nice and interesting story. It all started over 160 years ago when Paolo Soprani, that was living in the countryside of the town, had a small accordion from a pilgrim that was going to visit the Loreto Cathedral. And he was so enthusiastic about this little piece of artisan work that he started to work on these concepts, and he started to manufacture accordions himself. But what made a real change for the area and for himself, for sure, he started to produce accordions in numbers.
Yeah.
Before, accordions were manufactured as an artisan job, one at a time.
Yeah.
So he started to make numbers, 10, 20, whatever, and that was the beginning of the accordion industry. Of course, Paolo Soprani was the first accordion company to start, but after a few years, many others started to appear in town, and even today, we still have probably some of the top brand of accordion manufacturing in the world.
Yeah, and you've got the accordion museum, haven't you, in the middle of the town?
The accordion museum is very, very interesting. We have accordions starting from over 160 years ago until some of the most modern and technological accordions that are playing with traditional reeds, also with electronic effects.
Yeah. And I think I'm right in saying the hotel that I used to stay in, which was the Parco Hotel, was an accordion factory, wasn't it?
That was an accordion factory.
Yeah.
All the big accordion factories, including the Paolo Soprani, have been turned. They were all in town. They are now different things. Well, apartments. Buildings.
Yeah. And obviously, I was brought up in the world of the electronic organ, and all of the makes from Italy that I knew, and a lot of people would know over here, they were all in the same town, weren't they?
90% of the brands of the electronic organs and keyboards, they
Yep.
were all from the town or just a few miles around the town.
Yeah. So you had
Uh,
Elka, you had Orla yourselves. We had Gem,
Orla, Orla,
Gem,
General
Farf.
Music came a few years later.
Yeah.
We had Elgam, we had the Sisme, we
Was
had all of them here.
was Farfisa there as well?
Well, Farfisa, I left it for the end
Yeah.
because Farfisa was really the beginning of the new era.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When Farfisa was started, was a sort of merge of three different brands of accordions.
Right.
Scandalli from Camerano, Settimio Soprani from Castelfidardo, and Frontalini from Numano, that is right in the
Right.
corner of the coast.
Yeah. Yep.
And my family, that was originally from Camerano, moved from Camerano to Castelfidardo because my grandfather was going to be one of the two production managers of the new company.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Farfisa has a special place in my family.
Yeah. So obviously you did the Orla organs, and we all know what's happened to the organ world. Really, it's had its best time, hasn't it? And now you're concentrating on the digital pianos, and
Yeah.
this is where the connection between myself and you comes in again. But more importantly, between yourself and Scan Pro Audio, because they have now taken exclusive distribution for your piano products here in the UK.
We are very happy and honored to have the chance to start this cooperation.
Yep.
The fact that we have a direct contact with you, Paul, has been, of course, helping the project.
Thank you.
But I was very happy to meet Adam, even if in a video call,
Yep.
and talk with him, explaining what is our philosophy, and what is the point of view that Scamper Audio has in the UK.
Yeah.
We found that they're both going into the same direction.
Yeah. I mean, we will look forward to working with you, and there'll be lots of new content. And of course, you've got Luca, good friend of ours there, who's still working with you over there, and he's an incredible musician, and we'll be featuring a lot of his videos on our channels, relevant channels as well. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And thank you for your time today, for taking the trouble. Coming in out of the sunshine, I'm sure.
Well, today looks like being in a very standard September in Essex,
Okay.
an area that I know very well.
Yeah, yeah.
But today I feel not in summer anymore officially. Summer is gone.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up on future episodes, and I'm sure everybody at Scan Pro Audio looks forward to working with you in the future.
Well, as we said, we are waiting for you for your visit, and we are already working in a nice selection of restaurants that I'm sure you will be happy to.
And that's the main reason for the visit. Okay, we'll see you very soon.
Okay.
Ciao.
Thank you, Paul.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
There we go.
There you go. What a lovely guy he is. He
So,
really
yeah,
is a nice
lovely,
guy.
and thank you very much for your time, and look forward, of course, to working alongside, bringing your amazing products to everybody, of course, at Scan, but at Keyboard Live as well.
Yeah. Now, as I said, Adam brought me down the PF400, which is one of the ones in the range. And he said, you know, would you play a little piece that we can just show the piano? And
Shocking.
I'm gonna.
Honestly, we're not going to announce what piece it is, but the piece that Paul picked, that's a mouthful, the piece that Paul picked is absolutely shocking. But you'll see it in a minute anyway. But yeah, PF400, it's an amazing product.
All I will say is I'm going to check for a horse's head on my pillow tonight, that's all.
So buying this beautiful product from this historic Italian brand. Anyway, cut to the video. Look at this.
The theme from The Godfather.
The worst possible theme you could ever think of.
I think in my defence...
There's no defence from that.
No, hear me out. No, actually, I realised afterwards, and I got straight on the phone to Enrico, and he was very, very nice about it.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah, I just watched me back, really, for the next week or so, that's all.
So you're looking forward to featuring those products on upcoming webinars.
Yeah, I have to say, it was a really nice piano to see you play.
Good.
Really nice.
Right,
I'm going to leave you to it.
it's me now.
To it.
So we've had a bit of a scene change backstage. I've been left with a Genos 2 and said talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. Excuse me. So one thing I wanted to cover is kind of following on really from what we talked about earlier with the PA5X. Some of the same things apply. We've got 3 intros, we've got 3 endings, we've got 4 variations of rhythm, we have a break, it's all the same. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about do apply to both the Korg and, of course, the Genos 2. But there is one thing that I love about... oh, hang on, it's not straight. Hey, look at this. This is bad. Let's just sort this out. Let me get this in shot. This is the problem, you see. How's that? That's better, isn't it? So there's one thing that I love about Yamaha product, and it's simply because when I grew up, I learned to play the organ. So, you know, you would set a sound on your right hand, you'd set a sound on your left hand, you'd set a pedal voice, you'd put your music out, and you'd get lost for hours and you'd play. Sometimes for me, when playing these amazing instruments nowadays, I often find that it's a bit boring, yeah, because you constantly got this click that you're playing along to, yeah. It's almost taking away the, how can I describe it, the emotion from when you're playing. Yeah, we can add an expression pedal as Steve did when he played. You can add many different things. Of course, you can get expression when playing keys, playing keyboard. But I don't know what it is. It's just me being a bit strange, I guess, and my playing technique and the way I play. But Yamaha in recent years, dating right back to Tyros years, have an amazing feature for playing chords. And also, they've invented an amazing way, you know, you've got styles now that replace and give me that organ feel. So when I say organ feel, I don't mean I'm going to play a chord and it's going to sound like Klaus Wunderlich or whatever. It's going to actually allow me to play, because I grew up when learning the organ in the 80s and well, it wasn't the 80s, it'll be early 90s, where organs weren't really called organs anymore. They were called multi-keyboards, because that was the in thing that you called them at the time. So I never really learnt to play jazz organ. I never really learnt to play pipe organ. I never really learnt to play the theatre organ. They were all an alien concept to me. I could play the sounds and make it sound like Ethel Smith or Klaus Wunderlich or, so you know, some of the great artists of yesteryear. But I was always brought up on film themes, and I want to play, you know, musicals. I want to play Les Miserables. I want to play Phantom of the Opera. I want to play the theme from Star Wars. So that's how I was brought up. So brings me to the current iteration of Yamaha products, and this is, of course, the amazing Genos 2. So the first thing is, yes, we have great styles. We have amazing styles. We have probably the best styles that money can possibly buy for all different genres of music on Genos 2. But there's one category which I love, and it's the music, movie and show category. And if we move over to page 2, we've got what we call free play styles. These styles do exist in a kind of a similar format on the PA5X, and they're called what they call free styles on the Korg, FS styles. So they're the same thing, and it's styles that have a tempo, yeah, but you're not really, you know, you don't have to stick to this physical beat. You're allowed to pull the song back. You're allowed to speed up. It gives you this emotion. It gives you this freedom when you're playing. So, for example, if I pick Ethereal Movie, this is a style now. So if I just put the accompaniment on and play the style, so that's my style. So you can see at the top here, it's flashing away. It's at a tempo. You can speed that up if you want and slow it down. It doesn't really make any difference. It just makes the drum fill or whatever play faster, yeah? But it's the organ, again. It's like me having a right-hand sound and left-hand sound, so I can literally use my one-touch settings, see what I've got on here. Got some lovely sounds preset. Yeah, so I can now play it, and I can play me movie themes, and I can play me show themes, and it sounds great. But you've got a thing that's even better on Genos, and that's the way it recognises chords. Because the problem is, playing a keyboard now is very robotic, I think. You, for example, if you wanted to play a chord of C, but you wanted an E bass, it's always been quite difficult to do on an arranger product, because you've no physical pedals. Of course, we can use a MIDI, and we can buy some Ketron pedals or Krumar pedals or Nord pedals, all available from Scan, of course. But you can do that if you want. But what they've got with Genos is if we press direct access and accompaniment, you've got a fingering type called AI fingered chord. Well, what does that do? So obviously AI, artificial intelligence, that's all the rage at the moment, particularly here at Scan, with us being a professional high-end sort of technology company. AI is a massive thing that we're talking about at Scan at the moment. And basically what it does, it detects it's thinking about what you're playing and putting in the right bass note. So for example, If I wanted to play a D, you just simply finger the chord of D, F sharp, A and D. But if I wanted to have D/F sharp, all I do is play the root note and play the bass. And then it plays an F sharp bass. And it says in the screen, I don't know if you can see that, D/F sharp. So it's playing the right chord. If I wanted to play a C, play a C. But if I wanted to play a C chord with an E bass, just press a C and an E. And it now moves the bass. So for example, if we were playing Whiter Shade of Pale and we wanted to go down the scale, like Whiter Shade of Pale did, it allows me to do that with a Genos. So all of a sudden, that way of playing the organ is back. Yeah? So I can now... So it's like now, it takes me back to being 12 again and sitting at home, getting me James Bond book out or whatever it was I was learning at the time, and just being lost and not having a style on. You know, I mean, obviously what you can do on a PA5 Extra, of course, on Genos is create registrations, create keyboard sets, create songbook entries. It would allow us to sort of do the first bit of the song and then we want to bring in the rhythm, then you can do that. And so it's almost brought an amazing way of playing. It's brought back those organ feelings, if you will, that I used to have when learning as a child. Another tip is that we have, of course, synchro starts, so that when that's on, the keyboard won't play the style until I play the left hand. We all know that. But we also have a button called synchro stop, which is the opposite. So when I release the keys, it will stop. Now I noticed when Steve was playing that amazing rendition earlier, just that snippet of Gabriel's Oboe, it almost again loses something because you can slow down, you can speed up, because you know Steve was using this free play type way of playing. But what he did was when he let go of the keys and pressed the fill in and you had that cymbal, it's like a cymbal roll. Sometimes, because we are playing with no tempo or an imaginary tempo, if it's set slow, those cymbals can go on for ages and you actually don't know when they're going to end. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. But using synchro stop, if you release the keys, it adds that sort of dynamic. You can be more dynamic when you're playing, and it also cuts the fill in. So if you're playing and you press a fill in and then let go, the cymbals naturally die out, and it adds a lot more freedom to when you're playing. So for example, you might want to put a fill in. Yeah, so it allows you to kind of put a break in, and it really does add, it makes the music sound so much more dynamic. And I mean, literally, I've played a couple of songs now. I'm just going through seeing what let's see what this one sounds like. Again, I'm not setting anything up, these are just preset sounds. Yeah, so that's synchro stop. So it's definitely, whenever you're using any sort of free play type style, use synchro stop. That's what it's there for. Because the difficulty when you're playing, so if I pick, what else have we got in here? So if I wanted to pick something with a beat to it, so say for example, I went for, something that's got a beat to it, you've got to almost be fluid in your chord changes. Yeah, so you've got to be kind of clever. So I don't normally use it when playing, with a style with a dedicated beat. So just one last tip from me. Paul mentioned earlier about having 3 intros, 3 endings. Of course, they're different, short, medium, and long, as they are on Yamaha. Korg generally is long, medium, short in a way, so it's kind of backwards. But we know on Korg the intro 2 is different. But there's one tip that works, and it works for whatever model that you've got, and that's that the intros and the endings are fixed. So you can do things to the keyboard while those are playing, because if you think back, 20 years ago when products like Technics were around, KN5000, KN6000, KN6500, KN7000, amazing products that were released around that time, the intro and the ending button was always the same. It said intro/ending. The reason the different buttons now is that it allows you to play halfway through. You'll see what I mean. So intro number 3. I need to work out what I'm going to play. Okay, I know what I'm going to play. So the other thing you can do is, I'm just going to slow it down a second. The other thing you can do is, if I'm, playing the song, and my keyboard teacher always used to say to me, and you get to the end of the piece of music and people start to get up dancing, my keyboard teacher always used to say to me, go back to the beginning of your sheet music and keep playing. Yeah? And he used to say to me, change key. Play it in a different key. Yeah? If you're playing in F, go up to F sharp. If you're playing in C, go up to D flat. Or if you're playing in A, go to B flat, whatever it might be. Now, nowadays, we don't need to learn the piece in a different key. We use a button called a transpose button. And the beauty is if I'm playing an intro and hit the transpose button, the keyboard won't change key until I touch the keys. So that's something I'm going to do with this piece of music. And the other thing at the end, what we'll do is, certainly on Genos, if you double tap the ending button, you get a retardando. So at any point you can slow the the ending down, and I'll do that to end this section. So I don't know what I'm going to play, but we'll try it. See what my sounds are. Here we go. Intro 3, the long one. Change sound. End the intro. Change key. Nothing's changed yet. I'm even going to change the sound. Still going in the same key until I touch. Ending. Let it run for a few bars. Press it again. And then it starts to slow down at the end, and that will continue to slow down until the very end. So there's a few tips that are the same on Korg as they are on Yamaha. But everybody, please check out AI Fingered Chord, because it's amazing the amount of people, when I see them playing a Genos, playing a Tyros, playing an SX920, whatever it is, they're not using AI Fingered Chord, and it is literally the best feature about Yamaha keyboards.
Can I add a tip to that?
Of course you can.
Yeah. When Adam was using the intro as like a bridge, weren't you?
Yeah.
If an intro is, let's say, 8 bars long, you don't have to have your bridge a full 8 bars. Once you've re-triggered that intro, if you then tap any one of the variations at any point, it will cut the intro short. So there's lots of different ways, as Adam said, that you can use these things.
And this is why I think it's also important to watch the content that I do, watch the content that Paul does at Keyboard World, because these are things that you don't read in a manual. Yeah, they don't tell you these things.
Well, I think in fairness, they're in a manual. The problem is it doesn't always... A manual doesn't do what we do, which is you can do this, for example, if you use it like this. So I think to watch somebody do it, but yeah, this idea of using the intros as a bridge, it's brilliant. You know, how many pieces of music can you think of that have that little sort of middle 8 or whatever, where you can just go back, but being able to cut it short by just going back to any one of the variations at any point.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah.
And doesn't this bring us full circle to what we started talking about today, which is learning your instrument and how these things function? If you've learnt the intros, you'll know when you can cut it short, because there'll be a right place and a wrong place.
Yeah, and sometimes depending, I can't think of the style now, but there's a style on it for All By Myself, the song, where one of the intro 2 is actually the chorus. So you can play the song and do all the first bit, but then when it gets to the All By Myself, press intro 2, and it does a massive build up into single finger All By Myself. But it goes on too long. So all you need to do is, when you get to that point in the song, just press the variation and then carry on playing the last couple of chords, and it kind of does it for you. So it's a really good way of playing.
Okay, just to finish this little sort of section on Genos, this has come about through talking to a few people since the last episode, actually, and I think we're all familiar with what registration memories do. You take your piece of music and you set as many registrations as you feel you need for that particular song. And then somebody said to me, well, what's the difference between the registration memory and a playlist? Well, they're quite different, really, in what they actually do. I've got a USB stick in here, and on that USB stick, I'm pretty certain I have... Yes, I have the playlist for Genos. So we've got hundreds of registrations in there, and they're all neatly organised into categories. So Adam's favourite movie and show, and we could go to Arthur's theme, and that's basically then telling us we've got 6 registrations set for that particular song. Some of them will use more than that, but it basically just loads the memories up. Why do you use a playlist? Well, a playlist, imagine you were going off to entertain at, somewhere. It could be the old folks' homes, it could be down the organ club or keyboard club, and you're just going to do a little half-hour set or whatever. Then a playlist enables you to stack your favourite songs from that whole mass of playlist in this particular case. So how do we actually do it? We go to playlist and we create the button that says, we press the button that says new, and it will create a new playlist for us. So this playlist is now blank, and it's really simple to populate that list. You go to add record. And what we want to do is select one from a registration bank, because we know we've already got the settings in the registration bank. So what did we choose? Arthur's theme, wasn't it? There you go. And up at the top here, add to playlist. And there it is. That's our first entry in the playlist. So I've played Arthur's theme. I want to go to something totally and utterly different then. Go to Add Record, select from Registration Bank. This time, let's go to Easy Listening. And I want to slow things down, and I want to play the Richard Clayderman song, Ballad pour Adeline. Okay? Add to playlist. There's our second song. Let's just do a couple more really quickly. We go Add Record, select from Registration Bank. I then want to do a country song. I want to play Achy Breaky Heart. It's a bit of a mixture, this, but there you go.
It's a good gig, this.
I know. I'd want to be there. Final one, Add Record, select from Registration Bank. I'll go into Latin, and it doesn't matter really, does it, what we choose? I'm trying to think of one I know. El Condor Pasa. Okay? Add to playlist. And there we go. We've got 4 songs in our playlist. Obviously, you can go on and you can add as many as you want. What I love then is you can change the order of them. Yeah. So you highlight and you can move things up and down, because you might have a look at what you've done and think, actually, the contrast is wrong. I don't want to go from that song to that song. I need something slower in between. So I might say, well, I'm going to bring Ballad pour Adeline down one.
Yeah.
So you're making your playlist, and basically you highlight the one you want, and at the point when you press load, it will load that set in. So while you're playing Arthur's theme, you can be getting the next one ready. Nothing will load until you actually press the load
button. A lot of
button.
you at home might be thinking, I don't need that feature because I don't play live, I don't gig in a pub. But one thing that we all do, and we're all got in common, is we all read sheet music.
Yep.
So what you could actually do is create a playlist for the book. So, for example, I don't know, Complete Keyboard Player Book 3. Yeah, so you create registrations for all those songs that are in that book, and then you create a playlist called Complete Keyboard Player Book 3, and you put the songs in order so that when you're flicking through the book, all your sheet music is there, all your registrations are ready to match in the order of your sheet music in your book.
I've got friends who make playlists up. They make a waltz playlist, a ballad playlist. You don't have to be out, as Adam said. You don't have to be out as a.
Again, it's what we were talking about earlier. Make the keyboard your own.
Yeah.
It's up to you what you do.
Yeah.
The Yamaha have provided you with the tools, and obviously the knowledge, and then it's up to you to do
And
with
actually,
it as you want.
it saves so much time, because I'm sure many of you are like me. You end up with that many registrations in that many different banks.
Yeah.
And you finish something and you go searching through, and sometimes we miss it because we're word blind and you don't see the one you're looking for, and you start panicking then and going through multiple pages. Actually, to have it as a set list, it's there. One final thing that I really, really like about this is if I choose a particular one there, like Ballad pour Adeline, and I press edit, I can now tell it what behaviour I want when I actually load that. So I'm going to say, look, I don't want the intro to play, because the way Yamaha tend to preset theirs is that the first button registered will be the intro, and the last button registered, whether it's number 6 or number 10 or whatever, will have the ending in it. So I'm going to say, no, I don't want the intro, so please start from registration 2. Okay? You could have the score to come up. You could have lyrics if you sing songs. You could have text that could just be little text reminders of
remember to play in this key.
Yeah, remember to play in this key, or play twice and transpose halfway through.
Yeah.
You can write down little messages for yourself.
You could even write what book it's in.
Yeah.
It's in Busker's book, page 34. So then you think, right, that's that book. And then you get your right
So
book.
now, having exit, look what it's added. It's added a number 2. So I know when I press that, it's going to start on registration 2. So let's go Achy Breaky Heart, just edit it. And for some bizarre reason, I want to start on number registration 4. And there we go. It's done it for you.
Clever.
And you can still readjust the order, and all those commands will still say. So you can have you can create as many playlists as you want.
And you can also, the other thing that to remember is we've done a playlist there with Achy Breaky Heart that Paul might be playing at his club on a Thursday night. He might then create another playlist for a gig he's doing on a Sunday. You might think, well, I can't have Achy Breaky Heart because that's in the other playlist. No, you can have Achy Breaky Heart in every playlist you make if you want.
Yep.
And that's the beauty. Sometimes we were restricted if we had floppy disks and we loaded it and we had 16 registrations. You think, right, where's that amazing pipe organ sound I made?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on that disc. Load number 3.
Track 16.
Track 16. No, it's you can have multiples in the same one. You don't.
Yeah.
I don't feel that you think, right, well, I've got Achy Breaky Heart. I can't use that again in another playlist. You can. You can use it as many times as you want.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully we've given you a few ideas, planted a few seeds, a few hints and tips for you on both the products. Now, do you mind if I invite my friend Tom back?
Yeah, thank you.
Adam's going to disappear
I'm
for a while, so
disappearing now.
Tom's going to come back and join me, and we're just going to show you briefly how we change the EQ settings on Genos this time. So
You show me.
yeah, I'll show you. Well, I'll get you into the right screen, okay? So we're going to go in here, and we're going to go to Master, and we go to EQ. So just for those watching, what we basically did there, we went into the mixer, which can be accessed from the main screen or through the menu, and normally it would come up on panel or style. But if you go to Master and obviously go to the EQ tab, now you can change your EQ settings there.
Yep, and that's the same way we can see here. We can change the type. So that's the peak that we did have. That's the shelving.
Yeah. I think we change it on this.
Yes, that's it.
There,
And then
that's it. Yeah.
that's how to put it in. So it's less visual than the one.
I'm going to say you haven't got that nice graphic on here. But you've got the same flexibility in terms of the
So we're looking here. It's going up in kilohertz. So you haven't got quite the same sort of control as you had
no.
with it. But is that the same if I change the thing? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So there's not quite the same. Again, you're going to want to do a nice big cut, something like plus 10 or something.
Yep.
And then just take that up. And just kind of play with it. Play with each one of these. You haven't got the cue control so much.
Yeah, I mean it does say Q here, but it's not. You can't change that.
Yeah, well you can. You just can't see it. So this is it. Just try dial that in. Dial a big boost. And see how you get on. See if the shelf is going to work better than the peak.
Yeah.
Don't know. I'll change that back because in case we actually do play anything, that was going to sound horrendous to everyone.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the same principle. So find the point where it is, and then just position this above it.
Yeah, and again, you can save as many different settings as you want.
Yep.
I notice there's one here for a stage pass. So if somebody's got it connected to a stage pass Yamaha PA system.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could have home, I suppose, if you played regularly somewhere else, you could have a setting for there. But as Tom explained earlier, really this is about you playing at home for yourself, because your alterations, they may suit you 100% perfectly at home, but you go out then to the keyboard club and you'll probably have everybody going like this because the sound is then just not right for them. So
stick with it. Just flat when you go out and do whatever you want in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
Should that be a lesson for life?
Just while we're on, and I'm sort of going a little bit off what we were doing here. And Steve talked earlier about boosting the nylon guitar sound, and he said I've put some effects and I've put a compressor on it. I know a lot of our people are not quite sure what a compressor actually does. So while we've just got 5 minutes, I just didn't know whether you might be able to explain that.
So a compressor, it's best used in this sense on an individual sound. Is that what is? But this is on the master, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're
this is
looking
on the
at this.
master, but we can do that on.
Yeah. So I would tend to leave any part of master processing unless you've got a lot of control.
Yes.
Leave it off.
Yeah.
Leave it really.
So
don't do it.
we've got various compressors here on which we can put
Okay.
on individual sounds.
Right. Well, that's fair. I mean, that's fairly extensive
Yeah.
because you've got multi-bands, and that basically splits the frequency band into chunks, which will
Okay.
then be compressed. So something that's a really low sound, if it's got lots of energy, won't get affected in the same way as a high sound
Right.
if they're playing at the same time. So if you've got something that's got a really big drawing pad,
Yeah.
and basically compression, what it does, it reduces the volume of something after it hits a threshold. So there'll be a volume level,
Yes.
and if you hit that level, it will then reduce it by a certain amount.
Right.
And that's called the ratio.
Yes.
So let's load up one of these. I'm going to load the comp basic. Can we see anything? Do we get any settings?
No. Well, just an amount.
Right. So,
Okay.
so in that case,
There you
here
go,
we go.
there you go.
No. Now, this is what I was looking for. So, we've got this. This is the threshold. That's the point that the compressor is going to start compressing.
Okay.
The knee is basically the point where it is. Does it suddenly start if you've got that? I don't actually know which way round this is.
Okay.
But one of them will be very sharp when you hit that point. It will
Yeah.
start compressing. The other one will just be a gentle curve. So you
Okay.
can dial that
Yeah.
in. Ratio is where you choose how much it compresses after it hits the threshold.
Okay.
So you've done that. You've also got attack and release, which is how quickly it starts and how quickly it ends after it's done that. And then because it's essentially squishing the level of something, so
Yeah.
if you think the level's coming in like that, the compressor brings down the loudest points. You'd often then have to turn it back up for it to be sort of seem as loud as it is.
Okay.
So essentially what you've done, you've changed the dynamic range, so the loudest and the quietest parts of the sound
Right.
are going to be a lot more similar. So the makeup gain that we have here then boosts that back up.
Right.
So, and it runs along.
I think, and I'm talking to you now as my customers talk to me.
Yeah.
When they put a compressor on, it seems to make something louder. It seems to boost the sound, but then when you tell them that it actually compresses the sound, it seems to contradictory. Is I think what I'm trying to say.
And that is the makeup gain. So
Right.
if you have the makeup gain all the way down,
Yes.
top tip, don't try and do that with your finger as well as doing this. But basically, look, the makeup gain can go up or down, which
Yeah.
is a little bit weird. Most of the time, it only ever goes up.
Okay.
It clues in the name.
Yeah.
But basically, that's it. So it compresses down, and then to make it louder, you then use the makeup gain
Right.
to dial that back
Okay.
up.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Cool. There's a load more complicated stuff to it, but don't concern yourself with it unless you're specifically doing something stylistically that requires it. Like, I can see here, there's an EQ, there's a side chain part to it.
Right.
That means that, especially if you're making dance music, you often hear like a pump, sort of a pumping bass
Right.
type of sound off the kick drum.
Yeah.
So you chain something, side chain it to the kick drum.
Right.
So every time the kick drum plays, it then had an effect on the other sound. So when you hear a lot of the electronic presets that I have heard in this,
Yeah.
some of them will use that kind of control to
Yeah.
give you that effect.
Yeah. I think really what this says to me and shows me is that, and I think we mentioned this in episode 1, is how the difference between a home arranger keyboard and a professional workstation, that gap is getting closer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
because these are
this is it. You've got features on this which are incredibly high end. The fact that it's got multi-band compressors.
Yes.
These are, that's not the standard type of thing that you see.
Yeah.
With the splits, that's fairly advanced plugins, mostly that are used for mastering and mixing.
Yeah.
So it's great that you've got all of this.
Yep. But what you're saying is use it on a need to use it basis.
I would use it to if you've got an issue with something. If something doesn't seem right, that's generally when you would use it to rebalance and control something.
Okay.
Certainly in my world, when I'm mixing a record, obviously I'm using those sort of controls all the time. But we're trying to get something to sound almost like something else. Like there's a general balance of sound that's for the commercial world, which people will expect. So you've got to make sure that the balance of your mix, tonally and in loudness terms as well, matches the rest of the competition. That's essentially, they're sort of giving you a few bits of that, but it's realistically, it's not as important, especially in a live situation. You actually, a lot of the time, having headroom, having the dynamics from quiet to loud, if you listen to a lot of modern pop music, that has zero dynamics. It's very squished. It's very on or it's off or it's on. You've got a lot more expression that's available to it, and especially in the live sense.
Okay, but I think if you take nothing else from today is that to use that EQ for you and you only to get the best out of your keyboard, that's something really important. I think so. Most of the sounds in here aren't problematic. They're not being put in because there's an issue with them. Like when I think when something's recorded, like if I was recording some drums, and there was spill from the kick on the cymbals, I could use a high pass filter like an EQ, and I could EQ out the bass on the cymbals, so I couldn't hear the kick on that channel. You haven't got that problem on here because everyth's curated for you before when it's loaded. But I mean, all joking aside about my hearing test last week, for me to set my keyboard up like that, it's actually even made me go home and change my EQ settings, because I'm now starting to hear fine details that I obviously was missing.
Yes, I mean obviously now you've got some decent headphones as well.
Yes.
You've got headphones with the ones you got with the FIO FT1 Pros. So they're planar magnetic. It's a very fast diaphragm in them, so you will get the snap. And even when you can't hear those frequencies that are very high, you can still hear sort of transient and time detail very, very accurately, even well into old age. That doesn't diminish.
Well, as always, thanks, Tom. That's been very informative. We've got another little video of Andy Carville. I think it's called "Going Out of My Head."
I think we've got that then. So
about how
crossed.
I feel at the moment. I wish I'd never asked about the compressor now.
Just stay off with it.
Now we're gonna another one little performance now from Andy again, playing his PA 1000, and this is a number back from the 70s, I believe, and it's called "I Think I'm Going Out of My Head." No, Tom, you've let us down.
Oh, I've put it in the wrong mode. It's all right. It's all right.
There we go. That's why it's live.
Yeah, it is. It's good fun, isn't it?
It's good fun.
It's good fun. And then we've got Steve Hubble coming back to play one little tune for us, just to wrap us up for the day.
Before you press it, Tom, just a couple of things. Thanks so much to everybody that's been messaging in the chat. Just a couple of things to bear in mind is that I've noticed in the chat a lot of people are complimenting particularly the Genos and of course the Korg on their amazing one-touch settings. They are amazing. They are designed, and we're quite lucky, particularly with Genos, that they are designed and made and crafted in the UK. So like Tom said, a lot of these things with the compressor, you don't have to worry about it, because when you press some of the preset sounds, everything's done for you. It just allows you to tweak them should you need to.
Yeah.
Right, ready, Tom? Let's do it.
You can press the button.
I can press the button now. Here we go.
Seamless, this, isn't it?
Seamless. Fantastic.
Yeah,
he's
lovely.
good, isn't he? He just does. He's good. He's Andy.
Very casual about it all as well.
Yeah, he is. He is
enjoys
indeed. So
himself.
that brings us to the end of today's show. So obviously the next one is the 21st of November. So get a date in your diary. So we'll be featuring lots of new product next time. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Obviously check out Keyboard World for when that amazing software pack goes live next week, you think?
Well, we're filming all day tomorrow. As soon as we can get the instructions and the listings out, I will be emailing everybody.
Fantastic.
And if any of you are not on our emailing list by the time the next Keyboard Live's on, it'll be ready anyway, and we can give you some details there.
Yeah, and thanks as always to Tom for putting this whole show together.
Yeah.
Thanks to Paul, and thanks to Steve for getting up at 3:30 in the morning to come in and entertaining and joining in with our little show. So thanks to everybody that's managed to catch it live. Don't forget those of you that haven't been able to catch it live or only caught a bit of it or have had enough because it goes on for 3 hours, that's fine. It'll go on as a video on demand the minute we finish. It's a shame in a way that when it goes into that state, all the amazing comments that everyone's leaving disappear. And it kind of...
No, I've changed it.
Have you?
Hey, it's supposed to now do chat replay.
There you go. Supposed to. Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. So, yeah.
It'll all be right for next month.
Well, we go. It starts proper next month, so we look forward to joining you. But thanks so much to anybody that's watched it live.
Yeah, and if anybody can help us, just spread the word.
Yes.
Yeah, spread the word for us, because I don't think there are any other shows like this.
No.
With a range of keyboards, and yeah, we've had some news today. There'll be some even bigger news next time as well, I think.
Certainly will.
And
Certainly will.
you know, we'll keep passing on the hints and tips. If there's anything you want us to do specifically, let us know.
Yeah.
Let
There's
us
so
know.
many things that we haven't covered yet that we plan to. Things like portable PA systems. You know, we've got an expert in that field. Like, I look after keys and piano. Tom looks after headphones. We have a PA specialist, so maybe we talked about bringing him in to do some stuff on that.
I have a job looking after myself.
Yeah,
so.
but it's entirely up to you. This is your show. We're
Yeah.
just kind of doing things at the moment which we think you would like. But if there are things that you want us to do, no, we want to do the headphones again. No, we want to learn how to connect my iPad up to my PA5X, my Genos, whatever. It doesn't matter. You let us know.
Just quickly off the top, it's something we haven't done, which I think is really important. Maybe we should put a segment in a future edition of Keyboard Live about things like volume pedals, sustain pedals, foot switches, the different types of foot switches.
Why is one volume pedal £20 and one's £80? Why? What are the differences? Because cables. You know, what's the difference? Why do you pay £25 for one cable when you can buy one for £2.99? I think we all know the answer, but I think it'd be nice to go through it with people. How many of you know there are two types of foot switches? There's latching and non-latching foot switches. What does it mean? We can explain all that. Yeah, what's the difference between expression and volume? There's all these different ideas that we've got. So obviously it's your show. If there's things that you want to us to include, please, you should all have my email now because I sent you the email invite to today's show. Just please drop me an email. Or, of course, you can email us at scanproaudio@scan.co.uk. Should you want to get your voice heard, so please let us know. Somebody actually in the chat has done the EQ settings already on the Genos and says it makes an amazing difference.
Good.
So, yeah,
Good.
At least we've helped one person today, so that's great news.
Okay, so before we Steve and I head back to the Midlands, we asked Steve whether he'd just sort of play us out really with one more tune. It's a great film theme, this. It's called Conquest of Paradise, and I know it's one of Steve's most requested numbers. Great.
And this is
great
part of the
sound.
pack, is it?
And this, again, is part of the software pack.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. Yeah, I'd forgotten for a minute.
It's all right. You bought me a
this
sandwich
is
before.
part of the software pack, and everything in that software pack, as Steve said, is created from internal material. There's no outside sounds been brought in or anything. So, I mean, those Good, Bad and the Ugly pads,
they're
they
great,
amaze
them,
me.
yeah.
How you did that from the scat voice, you should be congratulated for that. That's brilliant.
And
So,
sorry, just before you do
come back in, Steve,
come in,
anyway,
Steve.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the things that I noticed before, the Gabriel's oboe, you know, you've picked the oboe. It's not just the preset oboe. You've done so much, and I can hear that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was even that I shouted in. I don't know if it came across in the video. Even Tom likes that one because you can really hear the difference.
Yes.
So it's worth the price alone, whatever price it's going to be. Just not only do you get new styles, getting new sounds as well. So yeah. Best of luck with that. I'm sure it'll do great.
Thanks, everybody, for
you.
watching.
Right,
and
I'll
we'll leave you
moving.
in the very, very capable hands of Mr. Steve Hubble.
We'll see
Thank
you
you.
all next time.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
See you next time.
On the 21st.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh, he's turning the lights off. Quick, electricity's run off. Run out.
Right.
Going home. Bye.
Turn it up, let the music shine. Arrangers and keys, it's your time to fly. Style, sounds, accessories too. We're jamming it live, all for you. Keyboard live, yeah, feel the groove, come alive. Keyboard live, your sound, your vibe, your ride. Keyboard live, yeah, feel the groove, come alive. Keyboard live, your sound, your vibe, your ride. Certain rates that move the new groove. How can I do? Keep the one line.